This is too political to put on the show, but this guy, or is it a woman? Anyway, someone said, I love how a lot of celebrities were like, I want to distance myself from this iconic character I played, and I don't want to use that influence for making political statements. I think Mark Hamill was like, Luke Skywalker would hate you.
Yeah, that's one of the what's one of the stories for tonight, kind of.
Yep.
All right. Are we kind of ready?
Sure.
I'm trying to find. Oh. Where is it? Damn it, that is not what I want. Why can't I ever find what I want in this stupid thing? It's because I don't have everything indexed yet. Oh well. Playlist. All right. Here we go.
Reboot. New and improved. Primate upgrade installed.
Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
How nice, the gift that keeps on sucking.
Can we take a direct flight back to reality, or do we have to change planes in Denver?
Well, I don't know what to say except it's Christmas and we're all in misery.
Bah! Humbug!
I want an official Red Undercover next to John Jones about Aaron.
No, shoot your eye out.
Only one thing in the world could have dragged me away from the soft glow of electric sex gleaming in the window.
Christmas. Merry Christmas, darling.
Merry Christmas, Zaza, darling.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Get you something to eat? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead?
Now, we agreed this morning that we was going to open up our presents in order and not helter-skelter like maniacs.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
I was wrong when I told you that, Susie. You must believe in Mr. Kringle and keep right on doing it. You must have faith in him.
Deck the hall with our glory. Ra 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 ra.
250 strands of lights, 100 individual bulbs per strand for a grand total of 25,000 imported Italian people lights.
Thanks for the Christmas card you sent me, Violet. I didn't send you a Christmas card, Charlie Brown. Don't you know sarcasm when you hear it?
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, fork-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-necked, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the title?
Welcome everybody to PTR Radio. Starting things off a little bit different this evening because Christmas is around the corner. Boy.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Mike, this is just for you.
You know, generally speaking, I can't stand Christmas music, right?
Well, but I figured, Bruce, Jersey, that would be like the savior, right?
No, I don't give a damn.
He was the second coming, according to what I hear from Jerseyans.
How many other Jerseyans do you know?
One. No, two. But one's a Jew, so that doesn't count. So welcome everybody, PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. This is our Christmas show. If you didn't know, you got a week. Well, less than a week. You got 7 days until Christmas Day, but everybody knows Christmas Eve is really where it's at. So you got 6 days.
Yeah, except that this year, Christmas Eve is on a Sunday. So I think Monday is going to be much more important for Christmas this year.
Well, no, I think what actually the most important day is you only have until Wednesday. Because if you don't have your Amazon Prime order in by Wednesday, you're not getting it in time to get it delivered to somebody.
And it still may not be delivered with the delays that a lot of these places are having.
Yeah, I mean that's entirely possible. But, did you hear there's actually there's going to be a class action lawsuit against Amazon?
Why?
Because their next day delivery isn't always next day.
Yeah, it's kind of in the details of the agreement.
I don't know why anybody doesn't know that sometimes to get the order to the point where you ship it takes a day.
And, it's being delivered by someone that's not Amazon. So,
yeah,
you never know what's going to happen there.
Although Amazon at one point, weren't they flirting with doing their own delivery?
They will in some places.
Well, yeah, but I mean, weren't they actually going to do their own, like, FedEx?
Yes.
Yeah. Jersey has, they call it Amazon Local. When I get deliveries directly by Amazon, since they have a warehouse in Jersey now, which I also have to pay sales tax on all of my Amazon purchases now, which is freaking great.
So do we. I think I pay sales tax on everything from Amazon, yeah. I think that's pretty universal now. I think the states got tired of it.
But I think what Amazon did is they bought a local company called Lasership.
Ooh, I bet they have a cool logo.
Oh, let me tell you something. No, they just drive around in white Enterprise vans mostly.
As long as it's not DHL, I'm happy.
They are crappy. Oh. Already we get a call.
Yep. You're on with PTR. Hello.
Hey, this is going to sound random, but since the holiday, have you guys ever heard of Family Man?
Family Man. Like, is that a TV show or a movie or what is it?
No, he's sort of a holiday character, I guess you could call him. He's from certain cultures talk about Family Man. He's like a big, dark guy that comes and he tests your family to see if they've been good, and if not, he steals their children and sucks their bones out. Their bones.
So it's like Krampus.
Yeah, it's like Krampus then.
It's sort of like that. It's sort of like that, except this guy, he's from South America, and two, the traditions with him is you put out a plate of bones and you eat a raw egg.
So he's from South Philly.
Well, and the other thing is
he trained with Rocky.
You're also supposed to drink a lot of eggnog to encourage your black friends to come over.
All right, that's racist. That's just not good.
nigger.
We don't put up with that. That's
what
just,
in the Sam Hill?
I don't know. We don't put up. We don't appreciate that around here, right, Mike?
No, we don't.
No. I don't. It's been years since that word's been uttered on this show, and it was only uttered in jokes previous to that. You know, we edited it out of a retro show the other day.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And we didn't even say it. It was from a clip. So, you know. All right. So, thank you for the ridiculous call to start off the Christmas show. With that said, we are going to go ahead and start off, I think, Mike, with you brought up a thing regarding our train trip.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard there was something. Amtrak had a problem today somehow.
Yeah. There was a pretty serious derailment in. I'm trying to find the link for it. Where the heck did it go? It was a pretty serious derailment in the south of Seattle, and the train itself looks like one of the Amtrak trains that would have been on those tours of the Northwest for $89 that we talked about. And I believe they have said that there have been now 7 casualties as a result of this because the train derailed on an overpass onto a major freeway.
Now, but were any of the fatalities the people on the interstate?
I don't know.
Because I thought I was kind of following this, and late this afternoon I had heard that no fatalities were from motorists. But that's, you know, this is one of those situations where you have a news event that's unfolding and things are changing, and so information might be wrong. You know, but okay, so we've had how many train crashes are there a year, Mike? How many derailments do you think?
I don't care. For the same reason that I will not go on a cruise, because it seems like they are all just giant floating petri dishes.
Well, let's see here. According to, that doesn't answer how many train accidents are there in a year. It gives me a math question. It doesn't tell me how many there are.
I can tell you that there were probably a good 4 or 5 serious ones on like local trains in the New York area this past year.
Okay.
So much so that the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority, is now instituting new standards to test their conductors for or operators, whatever the people that actually drive the trains. They're testing them for sleep apnea, among other things now.
Well, I can tell you this. Train accidents, like plane crashes, get a lot of attention precisely because this seems to be... You're on with PTR. Hello?
I heard that guy talk about... Hello?
Yep. So, we might... For once, Mike, we actually might have to disconnect the phone.
Yeah, how about that?
So there are blah, 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 blah. Deaths per billion passenger miles caused by train was 0.43. It is the second safest mode of transportation in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. I think it goes plane, then train.
Yes.
And then way down the list, car.
Yeah.
You know.
And probably like walking and bicycles or something.
They're above car, I think. You know. I think big wheel is above car.
Yes.
You know. So.
But probably car is probably above motorcycle would be my guess.
Ooh, car is above motorcycle. Car is above motorcycle.
And then motorcycle would be above like
ATV.
Ooh, yeah, ATV, yes.
Rocket car.
I was going to go for rocket car, but yeah, ATV.
Mm-hmm. Mobility
and
scooter.
then below that is anything driven by Richard Hammond.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Mike wouldn't know who he is.
Oh, I know who he is.
All right. Well, let's brighten the mood a little bit. Now, Mike, I gave you some good dad jokes last show. I know how much you loved them. I'm sure that you used them at your Christmas parties that you went to. So now, because the New Year is coming around, the IT-related community of Slashdot decided that they wanted people to come up with the best IT jokes that they could muster. So, if you're an IT nerd, you're going to laugh at some of these.
Okay.
If you're not, most of this is going to sound like gibberish, much like the first two calls that we had this evening.
Yes.
All right. So,
is the PEBCAC or the ID10T in this list?
Not from what I saw.
Okay, those are still the two best jokes.
So, now they have some obvious ones that are just, pokes at humor. So they said so here's a joke. Where's the spec for this project? Or who writes the documentation? That always gets a laugh. But here's a good one, though.
The answer to that, Mike, is somebody else. And we don't need a spec. We're doing Agile.
So here's one. I like telling UDP jokes because I don't care if you get them or not.
Okay. That's good.
I made an NTP joke once. The timing was perfect. Those are networking ones, guys.
You're killing me here.
Let's see here.
Well, he looks,
Who is General Fault and why is he on my hard drive? It's private browsing. I feel sorry for him. He's seen things. I did see one good one, though. There are only two really difficult things in programming: naming, cache invalidation, and off by one errors. Who is the hacker's least favorite actor? Error Flynn. Just a bad pun.
So, Mike, do you know the PEBCAC joke?
No.
PEBCAC, it's an acronym. Problem exists between share and keyboard.
Here's one. This is how DBAs celebrate Christmas by singing, "He's making a database, he's sorting it twice. Select star from kids where behavior equals nice. Sequel clause is coming to town."
Yes, that's my favorite. But I already laughed at it, so I can't laugh at it.
How many programmers does it take to change a light bulb, Mike? None. That's a hardware problem.
Of course.
A woman asked her programmer husband to run to the store for her. She said, "Run to the store and get a gallon of milk. If they have eggs, get a dozen." The husband comes back with 12 gallons of milk. They had eggs.
I lost out completely.
She says, "Run to the store and get a gallon of milk. If they have eggs, get a dozen."
That's not a programming joke.
It is.
No, real programmers are not doing basic.
All right, look. Let's just move on. We're alienating most of our audience.
All right. Next.
All 6 of them.
Okay.
And I apologize for kind of zoning out. No, I don't. I was zoning out because I was doing some maintenance to make sure that some issues are taken care of.
I gotcha. Well, let's talk about something that was important this week, and we're going to try and give it from a balanced point of view.
Okay.
I know that's going to be a bit difficult for a lot of people to understand because this is a very touchy topic. All right, people are very fired up about this, but I want to try and give a conversation covering both sides. All right, and that topic is net neutrality. Now, last week, Ajit Pai, all right, and the FCC, the 3 Republicans versus the 2 Democrats, voted to repeal net neutrality, all right, in the face of multiple in-person polls that said that Americans were overwhelmingly for net neutrality, given what they understood, and multiple states' district attorneys starting lawsuits saying that there was a flawed public comment posting process. All right? Now, these are all verified things. You can look at anything you want and you can see this. All right? According to Mr. Pai, he said it's a government overreach. Net neutrality should not have been put in place. It stifles innovation. It curbs competition within the market. And, it causes an issue. We innovated more prior to, and we got broadband out more to the fringes. We expanded the infrastructure, the cable companies, the telephone companies, all the different ones involved, expanded infrastructure more prior to the implementation of net neutrality than they did during its run. Now, granted, he was analyzing a 10-year period versus a 2-year period, but let's not let that make any difference. Okay? So, a lot of people got really upset about it, and, there are valid reasons why. Most of us, I think, regardless of who your carrier is, say, you know what? Internet is really expensive for what we get. And when you contrast it to, and you guys feel free to jump in whenever you want.
Yeah.
If you contrast it to other countries, to some degree, depending upon what country you look at, our speed is actually quite slow. Okay, if you look at in Europe, especially in the UK region, what I'm paying a premium for here is like their basic service.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning that in a lot of these countries, the internet is treated as a public utility. It is run the same way that electric is run. Everyone is. I don't know. I don't want to say it's run by the government, but everyone is entitled to it.
Yeah, it's no different than water or electricity or any of
that's those. That's the way it's governed. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think that other countries necessarily stifle the community drive of the internet either. I don't know, or I haven't heard of other countries saying, you know what, local municipality A, you can't create your own ISP. You have to have a commercial venture do that for you. And I know we've covered multiple stories here where a local municipality said, hey, we'll run fiber to your house. We'll run fiber to your business. We'll offer it at $100 flat rate gig lines, which was 10 times better than anything that they could have gotten a commercial vendor to come in and do. And yet they were shut down because a commercial vendor said, nope, you're encroaching on our business. And we have easements and all these other agreements which are said to stop you from doing it. All right?
Yeah, my thing is 83% of people, according to polling, including 3 out of 4 Republicans, thinks that the net neutrality regulation should have been left alone.
Yeah, there are so few true bipartisan issues that we can all pretty much agree on.
Yes.
Abortion we can't agree on. Gay marriage we can't agree on. All right? Even racial tensions we can't agree on. But the web, all right, and where we want to be able to go and how we want to be able to go to it and what we pay for, fairly universally, with a few exceptions, we all agree how it should be run. And as content providers ourselves, all right, we are affected by these types of decisions.
Now, are you aware in your research so far that this is not done yet?
Yes, I am aware. Everyone has said net neutrality is dead. This is the end. Here's what's going to happen. But that's not true.
No.
This is not the end of it. And Colin, because I would be going off of memory, and you probably have a little bit better basis for this. But I know that the Senate and the House, or maybe it's just the Senate, can basically issue some type of memorandum of disagreement or something like that. Is that correct?
Basically, any policy decision made by a government agency, whether it's creating or removing an existing regulation, can be stopped by a simple majority vote in Congress. Now, I'm not sure if it's both or just the Senate.
Right.
I'm going to assume it's both.
Probably, as everything is.
But it is an unstoppable thing. Meaning, there's no filibusters. There's no weird things that people can do to make things never come up. This particular thing that Congress can do, if someone puts it up there, Congress has to vote on it.
Right.
Period.
So, if you're interested in preserving net neutrality, contact your representatives and let them know that you're not happy with what the FCC did, and this is how you want them to fight for your electronic rights. All right? There are multiple lawsuits already being started, but the best thing that we can do is to get the legislative branch involved in this process.
Yes.
Because they are supposed to represent us, the citizens. And it's fairly obvious by what happened, all right? And universally online, you see this represented, that the FCC didn't take into account, I'm not saying they didn't care, they didn't take into account what...
they didn't care.
What, I didn't say that. They didn't take into account what the American people told them.
No, they specifically said they don't care what the American people think.
So, you know, and I mean, it's just, I mean, I was reading, was it Portugal that went through this? I think one of the other countries is okay, so that's mostly false. All right, so it was found false by Snopes. So I don't want to quote that article because obviously it's wrong.
Wow, Shaggy preventing a bell ring.
Well, I don't want to be one of the ones. I don't want to be the ones perpetuating a false statement.
I agree with it.
You know,
Good job.
So, but I mean, you know, it could lead. Nobody has said that it will yet, but it could lead to basically what they call toll lanes on the internet, with saying, "Hey, I'll prioritize this traffic over this traffic over this traffic," and you know, worst case scenario, some people have theorized. All right, no one has said that they will do this, but worst case scenario, people have theorized, hey, if you want to be able to get to these locations, it's going to cost this much additional, kind of like you pay for add-ons, for add-on HBO, add-on Showtime, add-on, etc. And those people are thinking would be for basically the cable killers, Netflix, Amazon, Video, etc. You know, so they say, and you can see the logic. If I was in Comcast's shoes. All right, I'll just use Comcast because they're my provider. So I go and yell at them on a regular basis. This should be nothing new to them. All right. If I was running Comcast, so I was Billy Q millionaire Comcast, I'd say, you know what? People are turning in our boxes and all they want is a modem. They're not even renting our modems. They're buying our modems because renting it is a shill and they know it. So, you know, now they're just getting internet service through us. And we can't keep jacking the price up because then somebody else will come in and undercut us. So what do? All right, we'll get them. We will get these guys to let us charge based on where they go on the internet. And so we'll say, you know what? You want Netflix? Fine. That's another $40 a month. Okay? And we don't have to do anything extra other than flipping a little switch. And now we get an extra $40 worth of income from these people that ditched us for cable.
Now, the flip side to this is that the cable companies or the providers could go to Netflix directly and say, hey, if you want your app to be in the fast lane,
yes,
you have to pay us a lump sum, which
is what they had talked about prior to net neutrality being in place.
Right. But you're still going to pay because Netflix will pass that cost on to the consumers in the form of a rate hike.
Yeah, it's similar to a ridiculous idea. All right, if you don't think that Netflix is going to pass along those costs, or Pornhub, or Amazon Video, or wherever, all right,
but that doesn't matter. The problem is not Netflix.
No,
Netflix is going to pay.
Right, it's not the big guys.
Right,
it's the little guys.
Well,
all right,
it's the next Netflix that's going to have the
the problem is twofold. Okay, yes, it's the next Netflix, like you said, but then now bear in mind, I'm speaking personally, not for the viewpoints of AT&T, who I work for, but just in theory, there is also the fear, founded or unfounded, there is the fear that in a situation, using Comcast as an example, that they will automatically prioritize anything from NBC Universal, which Comcast owns, over any other traffic.
Yeah.
Which they can't do
Now,
this year, not even because of the vote, but their original, when they bought.
Yeah, the merger.
When they had the merger between NBC and Comcast, there was they had to have an agreement where they said they wouldn't do certain things. But I believe that agreement expires in 2018.
It might. Now, just for another clarification, because I know some people may be thinking about this, but there is a difference between what we are talking about and what is known in the industry as sponsored data.
Yes. There is a
sponsored data is when you see, AT&T customers can stream DirecTV for free. That's probably a bad example because they're the same company, but or T-Mobile customers can stream Netflix without it counting against their data cap.
Even Comcast customers being able to stream your Xfinity TV when you're, at home or what, because technically that's streaming from their machine, not from your local DVR.
But I'm talking about like on your cell phone.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So what happens in this case is the company is voluntarily paying, Netflix is paying T-Mobile, or Netflix has an arrangement with T-Mobile that ensures that T-Mobile customers, their Netflix will not count against their data caps.
Right.
On their data plan. And even that may be a bad example because I think Netflix or T-Mobile is all unlimited now. But
and even then,
you kind of get the idea here.
Yeah. I mean, there's sponsored bandwidth is completely different than just the regular stuff that we're talking about here.
Yeah. I mean, if Netflix decides to put a server on Comcast's network so to make sure the Comcast users can get to the feed
the best possible experience.
That's not a problem. They can do that now.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is if Netflix isn't attached directly to Comcast network, then Comcast currently can't say, oh, Netflix's traffic coming to us, we're going to make that slower than somebody else's traffic that's coming in from an external network.
Yeah.
What made me most angry about this whole thing is the amount of lies. I mean, just bold-faced lies coming out of the FCC with all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not stuff even you can argue about. It's not stuff you can have a disagreement about. They were just lying.
Well, and,
here's the example. So this, is it Ajit?
Yeah, I just say Ajit Pai.
Okay. But. So Ajit said that part of what they wanted to do is to make sure that if someone has a medical device, that medical device could get priority access to the internet because that's important for people's life.
And he said net neutrality was stopping that.
Right, but net neutrality regulations specifically state that medical devices are not affected by the regulation.
That they actually get priority.
They get priority under the current regulation.
So actually, by removing net neutrality, they remove the protection for medical devices to get priority. So
now you can still get priority for them, but you will have to pay extra for the medical.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want your heart monitor to work? Oh, I'm sorry. Now the reason why this all came up today is because Mark Hamill and Ted Cruz got into a little intellectual sparring match over the weekend. And
two of my favorite people, by the way.
Yeah, Mark Hamill is a follow. Ted Cruz, not so much. All right. But it was in response to Ajit's little video where he's poking fun at the American public, which I wouldn't think that the chairman of the FCC would do. All right. He has two different videos where he's saying haha, I did this. And so at Hamill himself is Mark Hamill's Twitter. He has a screen capture of Ajit's video where he's got, a fidget spinner. He's doing all this other crazy stuff. Basically, Ajit saying, "Oh, look at all the things you can still do, even though I got rid of net neutrality." And one of them happens to be he wields a lightsaber with the score underneath it. Okay, not the score of a game show or anything, but like the musical score, right? Okay, so Hamill himself says, "Cute video, Ajit. Aren't I precious?" Pie with the puke emoji. But you are profoundly unworthy to wield a lightsaber. A Jedi acts selflessly for the common man, not lie to enrich giant corporations. By the way, did you pay John Williams his royalty? Which I love, because how many copyright violations have we gotten, Mike?
Oh, we've gotten a few in our time.
Hashtag a Jedi you are not. Now, evidently Ted Cruz saw this and thought, hey, I'm going to jump into this.
Which, okay, mistake one.
Yeah, no, you should have let Ajit handle it himself, which, by the way, he should just be ignoring all this if he's smart, but I'm sure he's not.
Especially as nobody likes Ted Cruz.
Yeah, and
least of all Ted Cruz.
So Ted Cruz writes back at Hamill himself, "Luke, I know Hollywood can be confusing, but it was Vader who supported government power over everything said and done on the internet. That's why giant corps, Google, Facebook, Netflix supported the FCC power grab of net neutrality. Reject the dark side, free the net. Twitter.com/Hamill himself, but he misspelled it." All right, now that he went back later and corrected it.
Yes, but at the time.
But at the time, he misspelled it. He spelled Mark Hamill's name with one L. All right? Not a smart move.
Which, that dot at Hamill himself at the beginning, yeah, somebody else replied to that before Mark Hamill himself did. And said, you don't have to do the dot and the name when you're replying to a tweet. The Twitter does that automatically. So the thing he got wrong, he didn't even need to do.
Yeah. So about an hour later...
Well, apparently our president is not holding tweeting classes or tweeting etiquette classes for our government.
You would have thought, they're too busy in sexual harassment classes right now. So Hamill fired back. Thanks for the sparm-splaining it to me at Ted Cruz. I know politics can be confusing, but you'd have more credibility if you spelled my name correctly. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Maybe you're just distracted from watching porn at the office again. Which is great. All right. That's a drop the mic moment right there.
Yeah.
All right. So...
It was swarm-splaining because he is a very swarmy person.
Okay.
And so Billy Baldwin, who is one of the brothers of Alec Baldwin, I believe.
Yes, he is.
I've been doing this Twitter thing for a little over a year now, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody break out a can of whoop-ass better than Mark Hamill's epic beatdown of Ted Cruz earlier today. A masterpiece, which Mark Hamill replied to. He says, "Much appreciated. Aside from leaving an L out of swarm-splaining, my only regret is that 280 characters are just not enough to unpack all the lies and the stupid contained in one Ted Cruz tweet." Hashtag condescending Cruz. Hashtag Mueller is our only hope.
So, I love to see this. I really do. I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
This is the way that you do.
Especially if all the stories lately, also with Mark Hamill with his whole the kid who was dying. You saw that story?
I think so.
Did you see that, Mike? So there's I was a kid. He was like a 21, 22-year-old. He had genetic disease that was quickly killing him. And I guess his dad knew a guy who was a screenwriter for Men in Black, who he checked to see if he found Mark Hamill's agent, and his agent was like, I don't think so. And then 2 minutes later, Mark Hamill calls and is like, yes, I'm in. So this guy, at this point, he was blind. His short short-term memory was shot, and he had no ability to differentiate anymore between Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker. That's how
That's how bad it progressed.
Was at that point. So Mark Hamill spent
They spent hours. It says
spent many hours answering questions from this guy as Luke Skywalker. Sometimes answering the same question 3-4 times in a row because he couldn't remember his own questions. And I guess every single time the question was answered, he answered it exactly the same way every time.
And I have actually heard I heard another story similar to that.
Yeah, there's tons.
He gives back so much. So many people try to run away from that typecast, and he seems to have. I think probably like Leonard Nimoy, initially hated it, but now just enjoys it and revels in it.
Reveled in it.
Well, I mean, revels in the appreciation people have for the character.
Yes, but reveled in that he's dead.
I meant Mark Hamill revels
Mark
in
Hamill's
it.
not dead.
I said
That's
like Leonard Nimoy.
Okay.
You guys are
I
just
was
confusing
trying
me
to
now.
get the Cheerios out, but yeah.
Sorry. So, yes. I was just drawing a parallel because Leonard Nimoy hated Spock.
I understand.
And I'm sure everybody in Star Wars hated their characters after Star Wars.
No, Star Wars. Well, let's see. No, I mean definitely not Carrie Fisher.
No, because that's all. Well, she was so high and drunk, she thought she was Leia for years.
Harrison Ford didn't hate Han Solo. He wanted to kill Han Solo, but that's because he thought that would serve the story well, not because he wanted to get rid of the character.
No. Speaking of characters, all right, Mike, you brought this up, and we're going to be talking about this movie a little bit later on in the show, towards the end of the show.
Much more than it deserves to be.
The bully from A Christmas Story is still making money off of A Christmas Story. So Scott Farkas himself. Now, there's a sweet side to the story, and Mike, do you want to go into what the sweet side of the story is?
So, despite the fact that A Christmas Story came out, 25, almost 30 years ago?
1983.
So, these guys are still getting royalty checks for A Christmas Story. For as long as the movie is in circulation, and yes, those checks are diminishing, but you hear about these Hollywood actors that get the back end deals where they get a percentage of the profits. Well, that goes on, for the DVD sales and perpetuates. But
usually goes to their estate after they die.
Yeah. So even though Bill Murray famously did this for Ghostbusters, and that's where he made his fortune, because he's still getting the royalties for that and any of the Ghostbusters properties afterwards.
Yeah.
He still gets. So Scott Farkas gets about $1,800 Canadian, because that's where the movie was filmed.
By the way, that's Zach Ward. His name is not Scott Farkas.
No. I couldn't remember his name, and I wasn't about to try.
Okay.
So, Scott Farkas, Zach Ward.
Zach Ward, thank you.
Redhead with the yellow eyes. He had yellow eyes,
Yes.
He gets about $1,800 Canadian a year in royalties still for A Christmas Story. And he puts that into an account for his mother, in the event that she should fall on hard times and need it.
Yep, and he has since the movie came out.
Yes.
He said he still does it today, all these years later.
So, just an idea of residual checks, because this was interesting. Because you don't always find out how much these things are really worth.
Right.
Like I saw recently, the guy who was in the M&M's commercial that always shows up in Halloween. He says he can make a living off the residual checks from that commercial. But so this one was Bob Gunton. He played the prison warden in Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as of anyway, he was saying that he still gets nearly six-figure residual checks every year for Shawshank Redemption.
Well, I would bet
Wow.
just from TNT playing it.
Yes.
You know, it seems like at least twice a month they play it.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was 2004. But I'm assuming he still gets that. And yes, he says it. Once TNT started showing it all the time, that's when the checks.
Yeah, that's when the money starts rolling in. That's like he wouldn't get this much if TNT didn't run A Christmas Story for 24 hours.
Well, right.
You know.
Now, I'd be curious if he gets any percentage of like the properties. Probably not.
Yeah, I doubt that he gets a percentage off of the leg lamp sales.
No.
You know. But what's weird is I didn't notice until we found this article that this is the same guy that played Christopher Titus's brother on the TV show Titus. You know, so it's weird that you see actors and you don't even think about them when they were younger.
He was also in I believe it was the second Resident Evil movie. He was one of the umbrella guards who got left behind and wound up getting killed by the dog in the classroom.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, and since part of the movie, at least, was shot in Canada, the Christmas Story residual checks come in Canadian dollars.
That's why I said 1,800
Yeah,
Canadian.
Yes.
So, but no, that's...
Yes, it was mentioned a couple times.
Give me my bean.
I have to find him.
Find my bean.
I was waiting for a ding.
Nah, he's too busy.
All right. So what will be the reason why we're going to talk about that movie is because we're going to talk about A Christmas Story live during the second hour. The live musical not adaptation, the original of that, and our opinion of it.
It's a copy of a copy.
Yeah, it's a copy of a copy. Based off. It's a copy. It's a copy of a movie based off a musical, based off a screenplay.
Based off a book.
Based off a napkin drawing. So, follow that, folks. All right. Now, moving along. I want to play a game because I think it'll be fun. So, we are going to do some. I don't know that. Have we ever done a draft style game before?
A draft style game.
Yeah, draft, like the NBA draft.
Yes, sort of.
All right, so this is going to be a draft style. I stole this from another radio show. Thank you, guys. So what's going to happen is we're going to go around one at a time. You are going to name. You're going to get 3 picks total. But once someone is picked, someone else cannot pick that song.
That's why.
Oh, this will not be a problem then.
Song/artist. I'm sorry, it is the song-artist combination because so many songs have been done by so many people. Yeah. It'll be the song/artist. All right. So, and then when we're done, we're going to figure out who has the best team of songs. All right? So, we get 3 picks. We're doing them one at a time. You can't do anybody else's. All right? So, Mike, I'll let you start. What's your first draft?
Dominic the Donkey.
Damn you! By Lou Monte. Oh, man. He took one of my draft picks. I didn't think he was going to take it. That's going to suck. All right. Well, while I think of another one, Colin, I will let you pick your next one.
Feliz Navidad.
By who?
Oh.
I like Topo Gigio? No.
Jose Feliciano.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The original. All right. I am going to go with a song that's probably considered a little rapey now, but I still really like it. Baby, It's Cold Outside, Dean Martin.
Okay.
All right, Mike, draft pick number 2.
Let's see. I'm going to go completely politically incorrect and pick Merry Effing Christmas from the South Park Christmas album.
Ooh, that is out. Basically, you just picked like a high school graduate. All right. Colin.
And so this is Christmas time.
Ah. Nice. Classic pick.
The other one was going to be even. My third was going to be even more classic, but I decided there's no real singer to pick, so I changed my mind.
I do not know who the singer is, but I have only ever heard this done by one. I'm going with Mali Kalikimaka.
Jimmy Buffett.
The Hawaiian Christmas song. Best for me known as the song when Chevy Chase is staring out the window.
Yes.
At his new pool.
It's by the original is Robert Alex Anderson.
I believe that's correct. All right, Mike, last draft pick.
All I Want for Christmas Is You, as covered by Leo Morcoli.
Okay, so not the most popular version is what you're saying. Any reason why you went with Leo Marcoli instead of, the one everybody knows?
Because I can't stand Mariah Carey. And his version is better and it rocks.
Okay.
Have you heard it?
I don't think I have.
Well, then that's your problem.
Okay.
If you had heard it, you would understand why I picked his over Mariah Carey's.
All right, Colin, last pick.
So originally I was going to go very classic, just go with Silent Night. But since we're going with singers...
You have a lot of choices for artists on Silent Night.
I know.
I heard it was covered like 200,000 times.
That's why I decided not to bother. Because I don't have a favorite Silent Night version. So I'm going to go with the Christmas song, Nat King Cole.
Okay. For a second, I thought you were going to say the Christmas shoes, and I was going to be really bummed out.
Somebody writing in want to know if we jive. I don't know if this is related to comments earlier or if they're asking a serious question.
No, we jump.
No.
We jump and wail. We don't jive. I am going with Run, Run, Rudolph.
Okay.
Again, from a movie, The Santa Claus. all mine come from movies, except for the first one. I'm very much in movies. Okay, so now we get to vote, and you can't vote for yourself. All right? So, who had the best lineup? So let's go through this again. So, Mike, you had, and anyone paying attention on Facebook, feel free. You can vote as well for any of these. All right? Mike, you had Dominic the Donkey, Merry Effing Christmas, and All I Want for Christmas Is You, specifically by Leo Marcoli. Colin, you had Feliz Navidad, And So This Is Christmas, and the Christmas Song by Nat King Cole.
By the way, do you know what the Christmas song is?
I believe so.
That's the chestnuts roasting.
Yeah, chestnuts roasting on open fire. Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right. And then I had Baby It's Cold Outside by Dean Martin, Mali Kalikimaka, and Run, Run, Rudolph.
You're close on, by the way,
on the spelling?
Yeah, it's MELE space, and then you take out the space on the other part.
Okay. And put a hyphen in, probably?
No, there's no space.
Okay. Okay, so those are the picks. So, Mike, who are you going to, between Colin and I, who are you going to choose as the winner?
If I was sitting there and I wanted to pick songs that I would actually want to hear at a Christmas party, I gotta go with Shaggy.
All right. So that's one for me. Colin.
Just pick it two.
All right. And then I win. Yeah. Yay! I win.
Finally, you win a game.
I win a game, finally.
So I'm going to send this one because we've got a lot of names that I've never seen before. I'm going to send this one just because it addresses. We used to be on You Now.
Yeah.
And that was just more trouble than it was worth.
No,
Well,
there's a lot of jokes about gold.
We were competing with 13-year-old girls. Is what it was. And we can't when you're the audience is 14-year-old boys, you can't compete with 13-year-old girls when you're 40-year-old guys. I'm not going to try.
That's
because usually it's against the law. So it's just not going to.
Thank you.
All right. So Mike.
So I got a vote from Teresa.
Yep.
So Shaggy, you got to pick.
I did.
I'm just curious.
I actually said you.
Okay.
So right now,
you
and I are tied.
Well,
Right now,
if we
include Teresa, you and I are tied. So, again, Mike was Dominic the Donkey, Merry Effing Christmas from South Park, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Leo Marcoli. Colin, Feliz Navidad, and So This Is Christmas, and the Christmas song, specifically by Nat King Cole.
You know, I can't imagine that we would get a copyright from if we played Leo's version.
Let me see here.
Let me see if I can find it. There we go.
I got it. Oh, okay.
Good.
This is the heavy metal version.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Christmas, there is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own.
Let's get into the hook.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I don't need to hang my stocking. They're up on the fire.
That's actually much closer to my actual favorite Christmas song. So that's good. But I decided not to put Everything by Trans-Siberian Orchestra as my list. So.
Okay, well.
It's like I didn't do any Weird Al.
Yeah. I was really surprised Christmas at Ground Zero didn't make an appearance.
You were verboten to pick any Weird Al.
Well, I just said he couldn't make his whole list.
Okay, fair enough.
There's only two, but still, I decided to, try to pick actual songs.
Yeah, and see, I didn't pick any Bruce Springsteen craptastic version. Hey, Clarence! Santa gonna bring you a new saxophone. Maybe you should have brought you a new liver, too.
All right, so, now...
Bruce Springsteen who can't open his mouth. He's like Jonah Hex, but you don't see can't open his mouth. That's why he sounds the way he does.
You know what? The guy who's asked about You Now actually brings up a good point about other social media stuff. Things that we don't do and some of the reasons why. Okay, so for example, we are not answering spam calls.
Yeah.
And we don't dangle from skyscrapers for our Instagram feed.
No, but there was one point where I was considering doing it last night.
Really?
During the Christmas Story Live.
Well, that was just hanging yourself. That wasn't dangling from a skyscraper.
Anyway.
Daredevil Wu Yongying died after falling off a skyscraper in China in something known in social media circles as roof-topping. Now, I had seen some of these Instagram and Pinterest and photos and stuff like that, and basically it is where someone, climbs up to the top of a building where they have no business being, usually against local law enforcement, suggestions, and they either dangle or climb, hang by one arm or whatever, all in the effort to get a really nice picture for their feed and become what in the industry is called an influencer. If you have millions of followers, basically they're rewarding stupidity.
Yeah, this is Darwinism at its finest. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it really is. If you're dumb enough to hang off the side of a 60-story building with no safety net, no harness, no nothing, just so you could get a picture.
Oh, here we go. Let's see what this one does. You're on with PTR.
Hey, this is Bernard. How are you?
Just fine. How are you? Name for a dog?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a little cold here. I actually just had a sort of comment, just to let you know, kind of thing. You spelled feature wrong 58 minutes ago on Facebook. It should be FEATURE, not feature.
Well, sometimes we want different spellings. Sometimes humor is spelled with an O-U-R, and sometimes it's just an O-R. Sometimes it's a Canadian thing, We drop letters every once in a while.
Did you spell feature that way on purpose?
Sure, why not?
F-E-T-U-R-E? Feature?
Sure, why not?
Oh, is this wrong?
Yeah, we like
because they're bad movies that we're reviewing, we don't feel right calling them actually features, so we've created a word that implies that
man, your voices are really annoying. I'm gonna go ahead and hang up.
If the president can come up with cafefe, can't we come up with a word? People seem to have forgotten. The president came up with the word. Nobody questioned it. Everybody made fun of it. Nobody questioned it. They just said, "Oh, he's having a stroke." Nobody asked about our mental health.
I would say that's the greatest, Shaggy. That's the greatest burn I've ever heard.
What? Is this a name for a dog?
That was okay. So back to people, because this reminds
back
me,
to roof topping.
Yeah, because this reminds me of the story of Gary Hoy.
Yes, the famous Hoy.
Yes. So okay. So Gary, this was back in '93. So he was a lawyer who liked to demonstrate the safety of the windows in his office in a Toronto skyscraper by running at the window and ramming into it with his shoulder to demonstrate how safe the windows are in a skyscraper. Until one day when he was doing this for a bunch of law students, the window was okay, but the frame gave out. And instead of demonstrating how strong the window was, he demonstrated what happens when you plunge 24 floors.
Now, if these people really want to prove something, I want them to bring back something from the 20s, okay? It's called pole sitting.
Pole sitting.
All right. If you want to prove something, you want to get an Instagram picture, all right? Bring back pole sitting. Google that, all right?
Remember
Google that at work. Pole sitting.
Do you remember how planking was like the in thing to do?
Yeah.
At one point, and then there was another one. I forget what it was called, but it may have been hockey specific. But you smush somebody's head up against the wall and take a picture of them that way.
That was called the NHL Championships.
Might have been, but planking was harmless. For the most part,
it's like
people didn't do it off the edge of a skyscraper.
Well, it's like where they used to come up behind you and just smack you on the bottom of your head, or basically bum rush you and hit you. What was that one about? Where they actually put a couple people in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
Or coning. Coning was fine. All right. Nobody got hurt during coning, so you had to pick up a little bit of lost ice cream. All right? That's fine. All right? Even the milk jug thing in the grocery store, I'll give you. All right? That's just destruction of property. You go to jail for a couple days. Fine. Nobody dies. All right? But idiots climb on skyscrapers with no safety equipment, no permission, and no, what was that guy, the human Spider-Man? Remember? The really famous guy, right? They did a documentary and everything on him, actually.
Yeah, because then he tried to his last one, he tried to climb the World Trade Center?
No, I thought he
Or one of the last ones.
The last one he died on.
Wow. Okay.
But no, I maybe that was in Dubai that he did that. I can't remember. He climbed basically everything. He got a ton of notoriety, but he didn't do it for social media or anything. I mean, he wasn't trying to film himself at the same time. He knew, hey, I need 2 hands.
That was kind of like the guy that did the tightrope walk between the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
He didn't do it for He didn't do it for an Instagram feed. He did it because
you didn't see him out there with the damn selfie stick. You know.
No, and granted, they didn't have selfie sticks then.
The guy who's known as
Spider-Man or whatever it is. Yeah.
Human Spider-Man or the French Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
Oh, is he? I thought he died.
There might be other ones.
There might be another one. Actually, what's funny is the human spider guy. Let me see the picture of him real quick. Bring him up. The picture's not on the screen. Yeah, that guy. He has what the hell is it? Basically, he can't stand up straight without holding onto something. And I watched part of the documentary. Yeah, he said the only time that he actually feels stable is when he has at least 2 point, at least one of his hands on something. So he was standing on the top of a building and he almost fell off while they were interviewing him.
Yeah, that's look.
And that's a guy who'd been doing it for years. So
he climbs a lot of buildings.
Yeah, he does. Well, some of them he gets sponsored for. He gets paid to climb some of them.
His last 2 were for Samsung Galaxy Gear and the Sonara Group.
Yeah. I can't imagine the lawyer's field day with the contracts. Oh.
I don't even want to think about it. I mean, that's just absurd. It's not.
But this guy knows what he's. I mean, this is what he.
He's
does.
a professional French climber.
Yeah, right.
These are not crazy wackos who decide it's fun to have, somebody else hold their hand while they dangle off the side of a building.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like that one supermodel chick, Instagram supermodel chick that did like 200 miles an hour on a motorcycle down the damn Autobahn in a bikini, and then everybody was shocked that she died in a motorcycle accident at 200 miles an hour, almost naked. Yeah. And she left behind 2 kids.
Yeah, there's a reason that actual motorcycle riders like wearing lots of leather on every exposed part of skin.
Yeah. I mean, and this is sad because I got a daughter who's 21. Sees this crap. I can't imagine people with kids younger sees this garbage and thinks this is cool and this is something that they should do for a living. I was pretty happy. My daughter, she was excited because the thing that she likes to do online is donate money. She does this thing called Project for Awesome.
Okay.
And she was all excited because this year they did a weekend telethon, I guess, or a 24-hour telethon, and they raised almost $1.9 million for charity.
Oh, cool.
See, I like helping people out on Patreon, which could have been a big article thing to talk about today, but they fixed themselves.
Yeah.
So, I see it's 7:07.
Yep.
Which means we're beginning the movie reviews here in
a little bit.
A little bit. So before then,
yep.
Were we going to talk about Bailey?
Yes, we can. We can talk about Bailey.
I've got an animal story as well.
Okay, so we'll start into Animal Hour or Animal Half Hour. So if you guys were following our Twitter or our Instagram feed, you saw a picture of my pitiful dog. I will try and bring it up. And what it is my dog. Let me see here if I can just get the picture. Of course, you can't get just a picture. But she. There it is. All right. So she has been not a very good dog lately. She decided that she wanted to get into a couple things. Hold on. So she decided that she wanted to get into she likes to get into trash cans. All right. like many dogs do. And so my wife and I have tried to be very diligent about how we deal with trash cans around here, but inevitably you slip. All right. Now, and you know, as anyone with pets knows, sometimes it's more about training the owners than it is about training the dog. Mike, I'm sure you have probably told that to a million people, right?
Yeah.
So Friday evening, Bailey found a diaper in the trash. All right. Diapers are great. I think we can all agree they keep lots of good stuff in. Well, not good stuff, bad stuff in. And we thought we got it away from her in time. And then Saturday, somehow, no idea how, because we have no idea where it came from, she found another one. And, you know, so she had a little bit of one on Friday, a little bit of one on Saturday. You know, kind of like snacking her way through the weekend. So by Sunday afternoon, she wasn't looking her best. All right, you could tell in her eyes and her face, and Mike, you know this. You've had dogs, and Colin, you got your cat. You probably know when they're not feeling so great. Well, she was having that I don't feel good look about her, and then Sunday night, she goes out. She comes back in. She squats on the floor, which is unlike her. She doesn't do that, and a little bit of red discharge comes out. All right. Now, sometimes this dog has been known to strain herself, so it's not a huge thing. But then throughout the night, more and more and more this happens. And we know that something's went wrong, so we immediately call first thing Monday morning to the vet's office and saying, hey, dog's not doing good. She doesn't look good. She doesn't sound good. You know, this is happening. So we take her in. 3:30 appointment that day. They do an x-ray. They go, there's this big splotch in her stomach. And so I tell them the story about Friday and Saturday, and they went, yeah, she probably got more than what you saw, or she found another one that you didn't see at all. They go, because those diapers, they're great. They swell up. I mean, they're wonderful at absorbing stuff. And they just swell in the dog's stomach. And sometimes, if you're lucky, they come out. Sometimes they go up. Sometimes they come down. In this case, not looking like it's going to go anywhere. She's like, I don't think even if we give her laxatives that anything's going to come out. You know, it's just going to make her more worse. I think we really need to schedule surgery, even though I don't want to. Because the dog's almost 12 years old now. Mm-hmm. And she goes, you know, we can't really go through the mouth because we'll just be getting little bitty pieces out at a time, and it's not going to work. You know, so we're going to have to cut her open, and it's going to be a big cut. They go, luckily, though, it's at least in the stomach, and it hasn't worked down into the large and small intestines yet. They're like, because if it was that, then we've got to make multiple cuts because it's all over the place. They're like, at least since it's in the stomach, we have one cut to make, and so we can go in and we can get it out, and she should be fine. So Monday night, I bring her home, knowing I got to take her to surgery Tuesday morning, and she is miserable. My wife watches her for a couple hours, you know, hoping that she'd go to sleep at least, you know, for a little bit of the night. Not happening. She slept 10-minute spurts at most, and after a couple hours, my wife couldn't take it anymore. She brought the dog downstairs to me, and she's like, here, I need you to watch her. I can't deal with her anymore. My wife has been stressed out. I mean, Mike, Kim,
I know.
I'm sure you
believe me, I know.
You know, so, you know, my wife doesn't handle this well. This is like a baby being sick for her. All right. And I mean, you know, pets are part of the family. I mean, that's just how it is. This wasn't an inexpensive surgery to do. So I stay with the dog all night. I mean, 6 o'clock's coming around, and I'm like, can I just get 20 minutes worth of sleep? Because we got to be there in an hour and a half, and I haven't slept at all. Nope, not going to happen. So I get the dog there at 7:30. She's first into surgery. We get a call about 9:30 going, hey, everything went okay. We're going to keep her here until 5:30. You can pick her up then, and she can come home tonight. So we picked her up Tuesday night, and she has been bedridden. I mean, she has got if you saw the picture that I showed, she's got a 6-inch gash on her stomach. And this is a small dog, all right? But that's how big they had to cut her open to get to where they needed to get to. So we had to we took a baby onesie, all right, and we cut the buttons off of the bottom, and that's the dog's T-shirt to keep her from getting to her stitches. And then a vet tech friend of ours said, well, you know, if she still wants to try and get at him, rather than giving him the cone of shame, you know, they make this air pillow thing, which is better for them because it doesn't get in the way as much as the cone does.
Yeah, the inflatable e-collar.
Yeah. $40. Good Lord. I did not realize this stuff was that expensive. So it's basically like an airplane pillow, you know. So that's what she's had. We thought we were going to have to take her back today because she hasn't had a bowel movement until this morning. Over a week till a bowel movement. But when we brought her home, the doctor said, all right, you got to give her small meals often, so like 4 times a day, and it's got to be extremely bland. So like chicken and rice or boiled meat and rice, as in boiled hamburger, and then you still have to wash it off. And so, or eggs. I got her to eat eggs. And so, you know, the dog hasn't had a whole lot to eat, so there ain't a whole lot coming out, but at least she's been drinking, and that's the most important thing, really, for them. Right. So finally, we were ready to call the vet's office this morning, and in fact, my wife almost filled out a prayer card at church yesterday, asking people to pray that her dog poops. All right? That's how concerned my wife was. And so this morning, luckily, I'm like, please, dog, just poop. I really don't want another $300 vet visit for another damn x-ray and everything else. I don't need this right now, a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm like, Discover's already on fire. I don't want it to melt. All right. So right before we come in the house, she squatted, and I told my wife, I'm like, it was like pudding, but, you know, at least there was a little consistency there. So, you know, life was good that Bailey had a bowel movement.
You know, it's sad that, you know, true pet owners, when you start feeling happy about your dog pooping.
Yeah.
You know, that's a sad situation.
Yep.
But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I haven't been there. So.
Now, what was kind of funny about this is that my mom actually saw the story before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And she was confused and thought it was your dog. And she was telling me that she got Mike's dog and ate a diaper. And I was thinking, how did Mike's dog get a diaper?
Yeah, I know.
I looked at it, I was like, well, let's see. The first person asking what happened is Kim. I think Kim would know about this. So it's probably not Mike.
Yeah.
And my wife, by the way, wife was very appreciative of Kim's concern and all of her questions. So you can tell my wife appreciates it.
Of course. I mean, we have been there with the emergency vet runs. We've been there with the surgeries. So, yeah, we know.
Yeah. And so, you know, so the dog did get a change of clothes. I have not had a chance to take a picture, but evidently she didn't like the color yellow because I walked in tonight. I just put the dog's shirt on last night for her, right before she went to bed for the night. I come home tonight. My wife says Bailey took her shirt off. I'm like, well, she must be feeling better. I don't know many dogs that can take their own shirts off, especially when it goes from the back of her neck all the way to her tail.
Did she still have the collar on?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I know.
That is
Tell
impressive.
me about it.
Holy heck, that's impressive.
Oh, yeah. So you had an animal story as well, Mike?
Oh, so last Saturday, as in not the one that happened a week ago Saturday, Kim and I were asked to foster one of the kittens that came into the shelter. Kitten is 12 weeks old, and was under 2 pounds, which is unusually small.
That's very tiny
for that age. There's a suspect of she possibly has a liver shunt. So we were asked to foster her and see if we can put some weight on her. So Monday, Sunday, kitten's out in the back room, separated or whatever. Monday, we decided to just let her have free run of the house. Whatever. So about 11 o'clock, Kim takes dogs for the walk. I go upstairs to get coffee. I'm like, where's the kitten? She goes, she's out somewhere. Just okay, fine. So she comes back from the walk. She asked me if I have the kitten. I said no. So I'm going to make this a long story short. 7:30.
Oh.
We still haven't found this kitten. We have torn the house apart. We have flipped the couches. We've flipped every chair. We flipped mattresses. I popped ceiling tiles in the basement.
Oh, good Lord. Well, at 2 pounds, she wouldn't have come through the ceiling tiles, so yeah.
We finally finally she comes out. She was hiding under the washing machine from the back. Mind you, I looked at the washing machine several times, but Kim called the shelter director, thinking that the cat got out. Then your mind starts going that a hawk grabbed the cat or just all kinds of craziness.
Oh, yeah.
I basically was on the verge of a nervous breakdown over this.
Yep.
Kim comes downstairs after talking to the director, and she's talking to me, and all of a sudden we hear, meow. Look, there she is. Comes out from behind. So,
Cat, you're getting a bell. Cat need a bell.
No, unfortunately, we've kind of become those people because she's so small that she is wearing sweaters now.
Well, yeah, I saw that. I can mention that. What you need is don't they have those? I don't know if they're NFC or Bluetooth. Those locator tags.
Oh yeah.
For your keys and stuff, so that you can find them in your house. There you go. Cat tag.
The problem is that that's about as big as her head. Those tags.
Hey.
So.
Cat tag. Cat tag.
Yeah. Your story was kind of long and drawn out, and I guess we're getting close to where we'll have movie reviews, so I'm not going to...
Sorry.
I don't want to go too crazy. No, that's all right.
Now, let's see here. Now, before we... we'll probably cover that while we're covering that. Let's see. All right, real quick. Netflix is always one of the great places that we go when we look for movies for the bad movie review segment. And, Netflix called out some of their users recently because of their behavior. And I thought it was pretty funny because, Mike, is Kim a huge Christmas movie watcher?
No.
Colin, is your mom a huge Christmas movie watcher?
Well, we all watch lots of Christmas movies, but there are movies that we refuse to watch.
I know, but let me give you an example. All right. Right now, I can tell you without a hesitation, Hallmark Channel is on in my bedroom and in the kitchen.
No, we don't watch a lot of those.
75% of my DVR is currently filled up with Hallmark Christmas movies.
No, we pretty much just watch every possible version of A Christmas Carol.
All right, let me tell you the lengths to which Christmas movies run the house here. All right. I now have a section on my Plex called Christmas movies.
I noticed.
All right. That's because my wife said I can't find my Christmas movies because they were in with regular movies. And then she said, not all the movies I want to watch are on here. And I said, okay, well, we have them on DVD, so I'll rip them in. So I now have a Christmas movie folder with 155 Christmas movies.
Yeah.
And she has still told me I don't have some of my Christmas movies on there.
Explain something to me.
Yeah.
Isn't this stuff available like on demand?
Yes, on Jackie's Plex.
Yes. Well, yeah, it's more on demand on my
No,
Plex.
that's not what I meant. Why is it taking up room on your DVR?
Oh no, it's not always on demand on Hallmark. Hallmark doesn't do on demand, sir. Not a lot of. You don't understand. They don't keep.
Apparently I don't.
They don't keep 5 years worth of Christmas movies on demand. I think I said last show they make 32 new Christmas movies a year, Mike. All right.
Yeah, you did, and
they only keep the most recent year available. That's not enough.
Okay.
So
here.
So yeah,
Hold on.
We need
No,
more. We have more Christmas movies that have to be loaded. You know. But anyway,
remind me. I gotta beat you later.
Me?
Yeah, because some of the ridiculousness that I'm seeing here, I can definitively link it right back to you.
Me? Okay.
Yes, you.
All right. No, I'll take that beating. So.
Yeah, I've never seen our Facebook blow up like that before.
So, evidently, it's probably because of my poor spelling. So probably because what? What did I even do? I don't even remember talking to those people.
Okay, well.
So,
anywho,
you know. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it because I think this could take a while. Let's jump into the double feature movie review. This is where we try to find the diamonds in the rough between Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, YouTube, wherever on the web that you can find free or subscription-based content. We pick 2 movies, and we will do the review of them and tell you whether they're any good or not. You know, not always are there any good. Now, some people would review these with a thumbs up, thumbs down. Some would do a scale of 0 to 10. Some would give them 5 stars, maybe. That's not how we work. We work on a scale of what, Mike?
That would be puke to shnikes.
That's right. So puke being the worst, shnikes being the best, with all kinds of fun adjectives in between. So, this evening, as always during December, one of our movies is always Christmas themed. And so for this episode, we decided that we were going to watch on Fox, which was available on the Fox streaming app online, as well as broadcast television, A Christmas Story Live. The other movie that we will be reviewing tonight was supplied, I believe, by Mike.
No.
Okay, maybe it was by me.
It wasn't me.
It's called Simply Butter. All right, like in what you put on your mashed potatoes. All right, so I think we should do A Christmas Story Live first, and then close the show with Butter, because butter finishes everything, at least from my perspective. So, A Christmas Story Live. First of all, if you weren't following along during the live event of A Christmas Story Live, we were actually live tweeting the show.
I was a bit delayed, so I didn't bother tweeting.
Yeah. So, you know, so Mike was tweeting on his, I was tweeting on mine. If you want to see all those tweets, just look for hashtag PTR xmas. And you can see all of our tweets in there. And some of them even got, you know, likes and retweets and stuff like that. So, hey, it works. You know, we've done similar with Sharknado events, Lavalantula, and I'm sure there'll be even more coming up in the near future. So, you know, we decided that we would do that. And so that's where I'm going to pull most of my review from, because I didn't actually write a review for this piece of production. You know, so
yeah, I did not write a review either.
So you know what, Mike? I would be most interested in hearing Colin first.
Okay, I'll go first, because I'll warn you in advance.
Oh, there's spoilers?
No.
Oh.
Or there might be, but
okay.
That's not the word. I will warn you that this is a split decision.
Okay.
So I will give this 2 different ratings
that we then have to average together.
No, because one
Okay.
is
All right, go ahead.
so Christmas Story Live. So it's a live production of a musical based off of A Christmas Story, which is a movie based off of a book, which I have read, and both the book and the movie are great. Every other version of these books has been terrible. I think a big part of that is because and the movie.
Sorry, that's not what I meant to do.
Every other version of these. Let's listen to myself for a while. Okay,
sorry.
What have you done?
Sorry, I was trying to look at something.
So, I think a lot of that was the original cast was so perfect that you can't replicate it.
Right.
So, here's what I mean by split decision. Okay, because I think there's two ways you could look at what we saw last night. Okay, the first one is to say this is an event. Okay, so it's a live event. You're watching it live. That's the only time you're going to watch it. And so you look at it and you say, yeah, this was kind of fun. You know, there are parts that's like, okay, they obviously couldn't do the racist Christmas carols in the Chinese restaurant, but they still, you know, put a lamp on it and, you know, highlighted, oh, well, we didn't do it that way this time. And so you look at it, you're like, okay, great. Live production. It was kind of fun as a live event. I watched it live-ish because I didn't want to watch commercials. Great. I will give the live event that I had to watch once a smile. I'm trying to think if whoever's smaller, the grin or the smile. Okay. Now, as an actual thing that's going to exist from now on, a different version of A Christmas Story. So let me answer some things that people have been going off about. Okay, so first off, people were complaining about the fact that they were tired of the music. There's too many songs in it, and the answer to that is it's a musical. There's going to be songs in it. If you don't like musicals, don't watch a musical. That's not something to complain about. However, it is proper to complain that this is a terrible musical. I mean, this is a musical when it was on Broadway, lasted 1 month. It's absolutely terrible. There's one song in the entire thing that I kind of liked, and that was the song with the father, because it actually helped explain a little bit better the whole leg lamp thing. That it wasn't just something he won, but something that validated him as being an important person. But outside of that, I thought all the music, especially the opening music, was just utterly useless. I didn't like any of the slight changes, and just anyway. So as an actual thing, and as my official rating, not my it was kind of fun as a live event kind of thing. My official rating for this movie is puke.
Okay.
Because it's a terrible, terrible version of A Christmas Story. But it was a fun live event. I enjoyed watching it with my family, and I was happy with it.
Yeah. All right. So I will go next if you don't mind, Mike, because I'm sure you probably kept notes.
No, I did not. I only one I tweeted, but I have the PTR.
Okay. So
I have the tweets pulled up.
Mine is going to be fairly short. All right. So first of all, it's good to see misogyny is alive and well, and they didn't try to PC that part. All right. But it's really odd that misogyny could be left alive. All right. But we couldn't have the best part of the goddamn movie, where the Chinese singers sing fra ra 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 ra. All right, Fox, you had one job, one effing job. All right, make fun of Chinese people. All right, and I don't think that Mr. Chow would have minded. All right, you changed it up. I don't like it. Change it back. Do it again. I don't care. All right, now. I'm with you, Mike. I'm sure you're going to mention this. But I don't know why they had to mention it 3 times that they had rescue dogs. I think the only reason why they mentioned it 3 times that they had rescue dogs is so that people would continue to watch the crap fest that was on their televisions. I was actually happy that I was in an extremely noisy place, so I couldn't watch it on television, and I had to watch it on an iPad that was glitching out every now and then. Because where I was at, people didn't understand the concept when you told them that, I'm watching this for the show, and I'm trying to live tweet. All right? How hard is it to understand I'm watching this for the show, and I'm live tweeting? I have a tablet in one hand, I have a phone in the other one, and I'm paying really hard attention to this piece of garbage on the television. Shut up in the room, all right? Nobody cares that Matthew Broderick has gray hair now, all right? Guess what? Ferris Bueller was a long freaking time ago. He's old now, all right? That's all I can tell you, all right? And I don't know why the mom is suddenly Mexican, all right? Maybe he married the maid after the first wife left. I can't give you the answer on that one. It just, shut up. I'm trying to watch the show. And this is when somebody's in the room that used to be on the show. So they should have known. I do not understand. That was the hardest part for me, was just being alone and trying to concentrate, and then them screwing up parts of the show. And there was I understand that there was singing. I understand it was a musical, but there's too much singing. You don't need to sing every time I'm walking through the door, I'm going to the car. All right, I don't need a song every time you take a step. All right, I don't need that in my life. It's just not the way that it works. So I'm very passionate about certain things.
Yeah.
I liked Matthew Broderick's thing. He only screwed up a couple times, and he covered himself. He wasn't like the Topofurky, all right, mistake, which honestly was the funniest thing in the whole show.
Yes, it was.
All right, you should have screwed up more. Next time, get the cast drunk first.
Yeah.
All right. So, in my opinion, the live version gets a puke. Mike, would you like to close us out of this one?
All right, so bunch of people saying that they can't hear anybody now on Facebook. So I don't know.
Well, I guess you can watch the rerun. Don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. All right, so right off the bat, I've watched other Fox live productions. They did Grease, they did our NBC did The Sound of Music.
Fox did Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror was the other one. That's it. You could easily tell that they were live. For some reason, the video quality of this one had me second guessing whether or not they were actually live the entire time. And at one point, I actually questioned if they pre-recorded the final dress rehearsal, and that's what they were airing because the wildfires in California forced them to evacuate. And incidentally, that was my most liked tweet, that this did not seem like a live production at all. So apparently I'm not the only one who felt that way. Then there were little things that bothered me. Such as, can't put my arms down, but when the kid starts running, his arms are clearly down and brushing against his sides. When he sticks his tongue to the flagpole, his tongue clearly came away from the flagpole a couple of times. Mm-hmm. Then I had an oh ha 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 moment when it finally occurred to me watching this, and I don't know why, because I've watched the movie many, many times, that the mother gave the old man the answer, the correct answer, that allowed him to win the leg lamp in the first place that she so despised. So she brought the leg lamp into their life. It was her doing. If she never told him Victor, the leg lamp never would have appeared in their house. That was the most interesting part of this entire production for me. When Mr. Chow showed up as the tree salesman, my first reaction was, okay, maybe there'll be some cocaine and roofies involved now, and this will get more interesting. Then I thought when that they're at the Chinese restaurant, that maybe they would all pass out after dinner and then wake up and this was just a dream. But no. And they even, after they sang, the father looked shocked, and Mr. Chow actually made a comment like, what did you expect? I don't understand. Now, Shaggy, you kept questioning about the teacher and if she ever did any kind of softcore porn or what have you, because she seemed a little bit too sexy. And the only thing I will say is pretty inappropriate for a teacher to be doing that Johnny Dangerously type number with all these kids. And if they cut out her singing scenes, then this thing would have only been 2 hours.
Yeah. By the way, I posted that. Then I saw that a like that. Then I saw that a like to my original. Hey, we're live tweeting this came in, and then I posted a follow up talking about she definitely has done porn before us. Definitely, I think I saw her in what was it? Bookmark Bitches or something like that. And then I noticed who the like was from, and it's the worship arts minister of my church. Church Sunday may be a little uncomfortable.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So then, at one point, the wife comes out. She looks at the video and says, I thought this was supposed to be live. There we go. Another opinion. Giant box marked fragile, has no idea what's inside, and he just jumps right in with both feet. Well, why? Why? At this point, the entertainment was the kitten walking on my keyboard. Trees were not laced with cocaine and roofies. During the flat tire scene, apparently I was not the only one who noticed in dirt on the fender of the car appeared to be 666. So this production was cursed from the get-go. I could have done without the whole Hanukkah song in A Christmas Story. I'm sorry, that's not being anti-Semitic. It's a Christmas story.
That wasn't part of the original musical, by the way. That was added just for Anna there.
Of course it was.
Okay, great. Ralphie looked like he was in pain every time he was singing. The father at least did say not a finger, so I was happy about that. And then I made another tweet that, I'll finish up on that one. Old Ralphie hands young Ralphie the glove in the closing scenes. Has nobody ever watched any time travel movie or show ever? That's how you break the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way, shape, or form that should have happened. Ever. Okay? So, the last thing, conversation between the wife and I. Do they have to sing about everything? Well, it is based off of the Broadway musical. That's just dumb. End scene. I mean, honestly, this thing was hardcore puke.
Mm-hmm.
All right, not just puke, hardcore puke.
As we call it.
If you
Puke
like
chunks.
If you like musicals, you might like this. But you have to like musicals and not be a fan or have ever been exposed to the movie version of A Christmas Story. Otherwise, I can't. I just can't.
I'm with
this.
you.
I really regret the fact that we did this. I seriously do. Because around the 9 o'clock hour, about 10 minutes to 9, I'm like, they got a long way to go in this story still. So I flip over to the guide and see that it goes till 10 o'clock my time. I'm like, this thing's 3 freaking hours?
That's why they had to start an hour early, because Fox always stops.
I mean, I'm not even...
At 10 or 9.
If I had known that, I would have never even suggested that we live tweet this or even consider this for a review.
Yeah, let's remember, it's your fault.
I take the blame for it this time.
Now, I do find it interesting that the best part of the entire 3 hours, and the thing that seemed the most live, was the live advertisement for the new Barnum...
for the Hugh Jackman film.
With the Hugh Jackman. The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good for showing off what the movie's about. But it was a great live
No, I think if they'd have got Neil Patrick Harris in there to do it with him, we could have had one of the best show tunes ever. You know?
You know, it's funny you say that, because I actually think that Neil Patrick Harris, as the father in The Christmas Story, may have made that a little more tolerable for me.
Well, Neil Patrick, let's just face it, Neil Patrick Harris in any type of musical is just great.
Neil Patrick Harris would have been a better job doing the adult Ralphie.
The narration. I don't know. I really like Matthew Broderick.
I really like Matthew Broderick as well.
I was pissed after I found out, when I've been including him in my tweets, he hasn't done a tweet in 3 years. But, you know.
My problem with Matthew Broderick is he does the same weird vocal thing.
Yeah, but it's fair. I mean, he hasn't ever changed.
Yeah.
He hasn't ever changed. All right. I think now it's time to get to the movie Butter. Now, I actually wrote a review, like I used to do for all of our movies. And so if you guys don't care, I would like to go first.
Take it away.
All right. So Butter, a 2011 movie found on Netflix nowadays. When we first got this movie assigned to us, I thought that all I'd be watching is a crappy film about the ins and outs, about butter carving, and maybe the small drama of the state fair's ins and outs. Well, holy crap, was I wrong. You know, this bit was born to find diamonds in the online streaming rough, and I think this film is a prime example of what we would refer to as the Hope Diamond of Netflix. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Let's see. Are you into comedies? Got it. Are you into dramas? Got it. Are you into coming-of-age stories? Got it. Are you into overcoming adversity stories? Covered. And as if that wasn't enough, are you into raunchy sex movies? Oh yeah, we got that too. Hot damn. This movie at different points had me whistling, laughing, almost crying, and all focused around the central theme of butter carving, for Christ's sakes. Let's just say this is a movie that after you watch it, you'll tell friends about it, but you'll preface it by saying it's not a kid's movie. It's not a couple's movie either. In fact, I don't know what audience you would watch this with in a group setting, but they better have their big girl panties on, because like Bob Pickler in the back of a minivan, it's going to hit you hard and fast. I really don't want to spoil into this movie, so I'm just going to run down the cast really quick and then give you a closing thought or two. Laura Pickler, think Dance Mom but for dairy sculpting, played by Jennifer Garner. You know, Elektra from Daredevil. Sorry folks, no leather outfits in this one, but pay close attention to the car dealership scene for great audio porn. Bob Pickler, the reigning, now ousted butter carving champion and cuckold to wife Laura. He's played by Ty Burrell, who most people know from Modern Family, but I never watched it, but he seems like he's got some acting skills. Caitlin Pickler, the bisexual daughter of the Pickler family who can't wait to get out from underneath mom and dad, played by Ashley Greene, famous for the Twilight series of movies. Jill, adoptive mom to Destiny. We never get a last name. Can't say a whole lot. Seems like a real bit part for her. Honestly, I could have done with more of her and less than Ethan. But she's played by Alicia Silverstone, and it's good to see her working again in something new. Last time I remember seeing her is Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser. Ethan, adoptive dad to Destiny, playing the counter to Jill. He has lots of screen time and a pretty good sense of humor, along with some dramatic moments. Pretty solid performance, but I'd still like to see more of a balance between the two parents. He's that guy you know from that film. You know, that one. Destiny, the black girl who's been sent back and forth to a million foster homes and never put down roots. Not only that, but she doesn't believe she's any good at anything despite having immense talents. Played by a young TV regular actress, Yara Shahidi. I don't know how to say that. And finally, Brooke, or as I prefer to call her, the best Barnes & Noble manager ever. Played by Olivia Wilde, famous from the TV series House, and I can honestly say, good Lord, she got hot. Okay, so my final thoughts come in the 8-man style one-liner list. Is that hooker really riding a BMX? Hope my wife never says, oh yeah, and there are Advil in the kitchen for your dick. Great, now we have a hooker butter carver. Did she just say I get pregnant like once a month? Did she just say I haven't heard that, in reference to the C word, since my dad died? Lucky Cub Scouts. Did he just say I don't think I want you hanging out with strippers? Boy, that stripper gets around, and it's weird, but most strippers I know are at least bi, if not les. Woostoff. Damn, Skippy, those are kick-ass knives. Because of all those things and the fact that I'm going to for sure watch this again, I give Butter a huge old Snikes. All right, who wants to go next?
Oh, take it away, Mike.
All right, so when this was picked, I actually said that I had watched this before. God help me.
I feel a cobbler coming.
And
oh
yeah,
cobbler's here.
Not quite. But
folks, you'd have to see the show for a while to know that reference.
I still don't remember. So let me just go right. I had to look this up, but there actually are real butter sculpting competitions out there. I thought that this was a joke, but no, there are. So I had mentioned that I watched this once before, and after a few minutes, I realized why I watched it the first time. I must have been going through an Olivia Wilde phase.
That's a good phase.
No other reason.
Prefer in Tron, but...
So this movie had some of the most racist comments of any movie we have reviewed since Abraham Lincoln, FDR, American Badass. And it's all coming from the little girl. Quote unquote, I'm going to shit on the hood of your car.
Yeah.
That is a first-rate threat right there, and I may use that at some point in 2018. How freaking cold is it in the house that the little girl is sitting in her room sculpting butter and the butter's not melting? You're going to tell me that they buy... So now, what's her name is Jennifer Garner's going and she's buying a cart full of butter. You're going to tell me that they buy off-the-shelf butter to do this stuff? No, okay. There's no regulation butter that has to be used? Okay. When they get to the competition, there's the giant blocks already in the coolers. Okay. That's the regulation stuff and probably tastes like Play-Doh.
It's recycled year after year.
It's even worse. The most impressive role in this is actually Rob Corddry, who typically plays the dick friend or the a-hole. And he's actually very out of character for this part, but played the part very well. Oh, Santa Claus is going by on the fire trucks outside. Sorry. I like the monkey poster with the headphones that the girl has in her room. I have that poster. Just saying. I'm just going to gloss over the hooker-daughter scene for a minute. hearing the dad talking about adopting an older kid because people don't want older kids, I have used a version of that speech when referring to dogs and cats at the shelter. Because everybody comes in wanting puppies and kittens, but no. Adopt an older dog or an older cat. Now the stripper is buying a $1,200 set of knives for a 10-year-old. I don't care if she's sculpting butter. I don't care what a $1,200 set of knives for a 10-year-old is, in what world is that acceptable? Not even if the kid is competing on MasterChef Junior. No. But I will give this movie a smile. The movie itself is kind of campy, but it's entertaining, kind of in the same vein of Little Miss Sunshine or The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, or something along those lines. Not laugh out loud funny, but still enough to make you smile. Because of some of the stripper scenes and sex scenes, I don't know if I would consider this a family movie.
No.
Maybe with some kind of guidance. I mean, the life lessons could apply, but I'll give it a smile.
Colin, that puts you up.
So, I've watched a lot more of this type of movie. I mean, this movie seemed like a really bad ripoff of a Christopher Guest attempt to make a movie. And I really hated the movie. And so I had to do some research to figure out why I hated the movie. And so I looked into the history of this movie and where this movie came from. So this movie is a satire of the 2008 Republican presidential race. And it's also a satire of the Midwest. And so I was looking at this going, oh, okay. And I know this is going to make me sound like people who've been posting on our Facebook tonight, but this did seem like the stereotypical Hollywood liberals who had never actually been in the Midwest, making fun of the Midwest, and Republicans. So making fun of people that they know nothing about and don't agree with. And I could not stand this movie. I hated almost every moment of it.
Okay. There was a redeeming scene?
There's a redeeming thread. So this is...
Okay.
So I actually have to give you the score to explain this. Okay.
All right.
So the movie itself gets a puke from me.
Okay.
It gets an honorary Schnikes for the little black girl. And if the entire movie had been about her and her foster / soon-to-be adopted parents, and everything else had only been little side stories, then I would have got a Schnikes. Because I loved everything with the little girl in it. But the rest of the movie, I just could not. I could not stand. Mostly because it just... Like I said, I've watched every single Christopher Guest movie, okay? I've watched this type of satire of stuff before. And this one just felt so terribly done and so tone deaf that it completely turned me off.
So you're saying if this movie was more like The Blind Side, if they had just taken the Blind Side portions of this movie,
I think if they had taken out everything that you liked,
okay,
then I would have liked this movie.
If they had separated this out into two movies, all right, just the piece that Colin likes and the piece that I like, they'd have two good separate movies.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Well, they'd have one.
They would have
one absolutely terrible movie that you'd like.
Yep, and one absolutely terrible movie that you would like.
Yes.
Let me put it this way. I didn't mind the story. Like I said, I like the part about her, overcoming adversity and all that kind of stuff. But I like the whole package. I like it all. I thought it was good. Like I said, I don't know who I'm going to tell to watch this movie because I don't think anybody has the sensibilities to be able to deal with it.
No.
But that's the way that this kind of goes sometimes. All right. couple bits of housekeeping before we wrap up for this evening. I want to remind everybody that the 2018 Celebrity Death Pool is open right now. Now, currently we are at 30 entries. So that is half the people that we were at last year. All right. Now, we are only allowing entries until January 1st at 6 p.m. Central Time, because that is technically when our first show would be on. All right. So if you haven't played before, all you do, or if you want to play again or whatever, you want to help us advertise, all you got to do is tell people to go to ptrradio.com/deathpool. All right. It's that easy. Go to that address. Put in your information. If somebody referred you, put in either their name or their email address. They'll get points for referring you. Then pick 5 celebrities that you think are going to kick the bucket in 2018. All right? There is, of course, a prize at the end of the year for the person that gets the most points. Points are determined by the age that somebody died at, and what order they died at within the year. There's a few bonus things worked out there. Mike has a whole big system to take care of these things. We want you guys to not only enroll yourselves in the death pool, but we really need you to help get the word out and get your friends to subscribe and play the game. I couldn't make it easier. On the Facebook page, click the play the game button. All right, that's going to take you there. Like I said, I've been posting it on social media. I need other people to share it out and post it as well. Shame your friends. All right, that's what Mike's been doing. He's been posting people. Hey, you haven't entered yet, stupid. Do it now. All right, I'm going to start doing that as well. I'm going to send out another reminder email to everybody saying, hey, we need your help to get this game going. This is our biggest thing of the whole year. We run this every show. Every show we do an update pretty much on how things happen.
Full disclosure, I have not entered my list yet.
Right, I haven't either, but it's normal for us to wait until the end.
Exactly, and also, honestly, we can't forget.
And we don't win. I mean, we compete within ourselves, but the hosts can't win the prize. And right now, it's great because the prize looks like it's going to a local listener.
Oh, good.
So, I might actually be able to hand deliver the prize. Wouldn't that be great? Hey, PTR shows up on your doorstep, and here's your prize.
You can hand deliver it for next year's New Year's show.
And it reduces the cost of the prize because, as we say, it's worth the price of delivery. But we need your help to do that. The other thing I want to make sure that I mention is we are trying to get more reviews in iTunes, in Stitcher, in Libsyn, anywhere in Android market, anywhere that you listen to the show, however you listen to the show, on through the RSS feed. Obviously, that's the best way. We want your review. So do a review, send us a note about it, and we will call you. All right? And as long as it's not racist or illegal discussions, you will have the floor for 2 minutes to talk to us about anything that you like.
Yep. And just for people's information, when we put out the recorded version of this show, it will be edited.
Oh, yeah. So,
So don't think you can call our show and mess around with it and break anything. You just won't exist anymore.
All those things are, and always, don't forget to join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those other fun things. Really, I think for all of us here, I can say that it's been a great year. With holidays coming around, we want to make sure everybody is safe. So if you're going to a Christmas party, please be responsible. All right, don't drink and drive. But we do want to wish all of our listeners, that care about the show and, promote the show, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Right, guys?
Happy Holidays.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
That's right. Whatever you celebrate it well, and we will see you for our New Year's show, which we haven't scheduled yet, but as always, it will be released the morning of the 31st. So on the podcast feed, we're going to release it that morning, and you can download it, and you can count down the new year with PTR Radio. We'll let you know, hey, this is a 2-hour episode, or this is a 1-hour episode, and then you can start it at 10 p.m. your time, and when the clock hits 0, we'll celebrate it with you with copyright-free music to count down the new year so that we don't get, buzzed with that again. So, with that said, don't forget, check us out on social media, as well as check out our website, ptrradio.com. That's where you can find all the information about the show, social media links, how to subscribe to the podcast, stuff about the host, and all that other fun crap. I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the Ape Man.
See you later, folks. We're out of here.